Have you ever felt the day linger upon the heart like a weight, thoughts still turning when the world grows quiet, wondering if peace will return before sleep? Have you ever held the edges of worry in the dark, and wished for a gentler hand to loosen them? Tonight's reflection rests upon a promise Jesus spoke in a night of sorrow, a gift placed into trembling hands. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives. John 14 verse 27. A sentence like a lantern in the wind, a voice that steadies the soul. If these stories bring rest, take a moment to like this video, subscribe for more nightly reflections, and share where you are listening from tonight. Your words and presence help keep this small sanctuary warm and growing. Now, take a slow breath. Let the shoulders soften. Let the heart unfasten its worries. Let us begin. Night had gathered itself around the city like a velvet cloak, the streets breathing in hush and lamplight. In an upper room, a small circle of friends sat close to their teacher. Their day had been full, their hearts full as well, yet a quiet ache lingered that none of them could name. The room felt both safe and fragile, as if a single breeze might scatter it all. The oil lamp flickered gently, laying warm gold across the table, across weathered hands, across faces that had laughed and wept beside Jesus through many miles. Outside, the world went on with ordinary sounds, a cartwheel upon stone, a distant dog calling to the dark. Inside, time seemed to slow, to listen, to wait. Jesus looked upon them with kindness that did not waver. Love settled in his gaze like dawn over water. He knew their questions that had not found words. He knew the fear that rose like tide within them. He knew that the road would bend before morning. And yet, he was not hurried, not troubled, not thin with worry. Peace rested upon him as naturally as breath. The disciples felt it before he spoke, the way the air grew lighter around him, the way their own breathing found a calmer rhythm when his eyes met theirs. They had witnessed storms fall silent at his voice. They had watched sickness retreat at the touch of his hand. But this peace felt different, deeper, quieter than a miracle. It was the stillness of someone who knew the end from the beginning, and loved them within it. He spoke softly, and the lamp flame steadied as if listening. He told them that sorrow would visit, that the hour would darken, that the path before them would shake beneath their feet. Yet each word held them rather than letting them fall. Each phrase wove a shelter around their trembling thoughts. He promised an advocate, the Spirit who abides, the Holy Comforter who would teach, remind, remain. Then, like water poured into a dry vessel, he gave them the sentence the soul remembers long after candles go out. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. The words did not rush the room. They arrived slowly, gently, with the weight of heaven and the tenderness of a mother's hand upon a child's brow. They listened, each heart receiving the gift in a slightly different shape. For one, it settled like quiet strength where courage had thinned. For another, it softened a memory that once burned. For another still, it gathered all the scattered pieces of the day and laid them down upon the table in order and calm. The gift did not ask them to be unafraid by force. It promised presence within fear, light within shadow, a steadying hand within the unknown. Outside, a breeze moved the thin curtain. The fabric lifted, fell, lifted again. The motion sounded like the smallest ocean, a tide that could not be hurried. Jesus watched it move and smiled the kind of smile that tells a story without words. Peace, he had said, my peace, not the fragile truce the world offers, not the momentary relief that fades with the next noise, not the illusion purchased by control. This peace belonged to him, rose from him, and would dwell within them as surely as breath. One of them thought of a lake he had crossed at night, of a storm that once tried to swallow the boat whole, of the way Jesus had slept upon a cushion while the waves spoke their wild language. when fear had been loudest. A single command had hushed the water. Now, in this upper room, the same hush arrived without a command. It arrived as gift, as belonging, as home. Another thought of bread multiplied in a field of want, and felt how peace multiplies as well, starting small in the open hands of trust, becoming enough, more than enough, when shared with trembling hearts around the table. Another remembered how Jesus had lifted a child in his arms and said that the kingdom belongs to such as these. It was not hard to imagine that this peace looked like that child's quiet breathing against his shoulder. The lamp burned lower, the room grew softer, the disciples leaned closer, and the promise deepened like night becoming holy. The peace he gave did not erase sorrow. It transformed the place where sorrow would sit. It prepared a chair for grief, and placed beside it a cup of comfort. It laid a blanket across the cold places and said, "You are not alone here." Far off, the city exhaled. The moon slipped behind a cloud, then returned. The gentle scrape of a swallow's nest touched the eve. The world continued in small, faithful ways, and the promise continued with it. "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give." The sentence became a rhythm, a tide, an unending prayer beneath all other prayers. And somewhere beyond the room, beyond stone and street, beyond the hours that would soon arrive, angels listened with bright attention. For heaven recognizes its own language. Peace spoken by the Prince of Peace carries the sound of home. It enters rooms and hearts and centuries, and it does not thin with time. The friends around the table did not know every detail of tomorrow, but the not knowing no longer felt like falling. It felt like being carried. The gift had entered them quietly. It would remain quietly. It would wake with them, walk with them, hold them when shadows lengthened, and teach their hearts to sleep even when storms rehearsed their rage upon the roof. The lamp flickered once more, a small bow before rest. The teacher's hands lay open upon the table, as if peace itself could be seen in fingers unclenched. The curtain lifted, fell, lifted again, and above the city, the night leaned closer to listen to the sentence that keeps the world from breaking. "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you." The upper room was quiet. Shadows danced softly on the walls. The flicker of oil lamps painting gold across faces filled with wonder and confusion. The disciples could feel something sacred unfolding, yet could not grasp its depth. Outside, Jerusalem hummed faintly under the veil of night. Merchants closing stalls. Children drifting to sleep. Soldiers walking their steady rounds. The air carried the scent of olive and dust, and the stillness before a storm that none of them could yet see. Jesus sat among them, his hands resting gently upon the table. The same hands that had lifted the weary, healed the sick, blessed the bread, and calmed the waves. Those same hands now trembled slightly with the weight of love. He looked upon his friends, their eyes searching for certainty, their hearts unready for goodbye. They had seen him raise the dead, silence demons, speak with the authority of heaven. And yet, in this quiet hour, they sensed his words were meant not for victory, but for comfort. He spoke softly, his voice like a calm sea under the stars. "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me." The words drifted across the room, landing gently in their memories. "Peace, not as the world gives," he said. "Peace, not from power or position, but from presence. The world's peace is fragile, born of moments that can be taken away. It depends on outcomes, on understanding, on control. But his peace, the peace he offers tonight, comes from knowing that no matter what rises or falls, love remains. Think of that moment. A small room filled with ordinary men, and an extraordinary promise. A promise that would outlive centuries, spoken for every anxious heart that would one day whisper his name. As you lie in stillness tonight, imagine yourself there among them. Feel the closeness of the air, the faint warmth of lamplight, the scent of bread and oil, the steady tone of his voice. My peace I give to you. Let those words move through the corners of your soul, where the noise of the day hides, where old worries linger, where unspoken fears rest quietly waiting to be seen. Let them hear him too. He offers peace not in exchange for perfection, not as a prize for strength, but as a gift for trust. The kind of peace that doesn't need to understand everything, because it knows who holds everything. Let that peace rise now, slow and gentle, like dawn spreading across the horizon of your heart. And as the room fades in your mind, keep one truth close, the same voice that calmed their fears. Whispers still, you are not alone. You are not forgotten. The night deepened, and silence seemed to cradle every breath. The disciples leaned closer, drawn to the stillness around Jesus, as though peace itself had entered the room and was sitting beside them. He spoke again. Not about power or kingdoms, not about armies or victory, but about peace. His peace. A peace unlike anything they had known before. In the world they lived, peace was a fragile bargain, held together by fear and force, by the silence of surrender, or the comfort of temporary safety. But what he offered was something the world could neither make nor break. This peace was not the end of trouble, but the calm that stands unshaken within it. It was the still heart of a storm, the quiet strength of faith that knows, even here, even now, God is near. Imagine sitting there, hearing his voice, watching the shadows move upon the walls, feeling both the nearness of sorrow and the mystery of comfort. Outside, the wind carried the scent of olive branches, and somewhere far beyond the city, the faint cry of night birds echoed. Yet inside, time felt suspended, and the room became a sanctuary. He looked at each of them, his gaze deep, knowing, and said, "Not as the world gives, do I give to you." The words felt weightless, yet they carried eternity. For the world gives peace that depends on what happens, but he gives peace that depends on who he is. And as his words filled the space, something unseen began to settle. Not a feeling, but a presence. Not an idea, but a living stillness. This was not the peace of escaping life, but the peace of walking through it with him. Sometimes, that same peace reaches across the centuries, into your own weary heart. When nothing seems certain, when plans fall apart, when you cannot hold control any longer, it comes softly, like the sound of rain against the window. Quiet, consistent, patient. You may not understand it, yet it understands you. It knows the path your soul has walked, the weight it carries, the longing it hides. And still, it comes, whispering gently, "Peace, I give to you." Let those words wrap around the places inside you that ache, the corners of your thoughts where worry builds its walls, the memories that still feel tender to touch. You do not need to fix them. You do not need to fight them. Just breathe, and let peace be what it was always meant to be. A gift, not earned, not deserved, only given. The room grows quieter, and hearts grow softer, as the disciples sit in the presence of the one who is peace itself. And in that same way, this night, so do you. The night outside the upper room stretched deep and endless. The streets of Jerusalem had quieted, save for the faint sound of distant footsteps, the rustle of wind brushing against the stone walls, and the whisper of olive trees swaying in the darkness. Inside, time felt still. The flicker of lamplight painted slow golden waves across the faces of the disciples, their eyes wide with both love and uncertainty. They had walked with him through everything, through laughter and hunger, through storms and healings, through crowds that praised, and crowds that accused. But this night felt different, heavier, sacred, as though heaven itself leaned close to listen. Jesus knew what awaited him beyond that night. He knew the fear that would soon grip them, the loneliness that would follow, the moments when their faith would tremble under the weight of loss. And yet, even with the shadow of the cross looming near, he did not speak of fear. He did not call them to hide. He spoke of peace. His peace. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. His voice carried no urgency, only calm certainty, as if every word had been prepared before time began. His peace was not a fragile promise, but an eternal one, born not from ease, but from presence. The disciples could not yet understand, but someday they would, when the tomb would stand empty, when breath would return to their courage, when the Spirit would come like wind and fire and fill their trembling hearts with strength. For now, all they could do was listen, and let his words linger. like the soft glow of a lamp after the flame has been blown out. In that moment, Jesus was giving them something the world could never counterfeit. The world gives peace that depends on understanding. But the peace of Christ exists even when understanding fades. The world gives peace when things are safe. But His peace holds you when safety seems lost. The world gives peace when control is possible. But His peace remains when control is gone. It is a peace that defies logic. A peace that is alive. A peace that does not wait for answers. That peace lives still, moving quietly through your own nights, through the places in your soul that ache for rest, through the long corridors of thought where fear tries to build its throne. There are moments when you cannot explain it, when everything around you feels uncertain, and yet something deep inside stays calm, unshaken. That is His gift. It does not mean life will never hurt. It does not mean you will never cry. But it means that even when you do, you are never alone in the sorrow. For He walks beside you, just as He walked with them. Imagine this peace now as something tangible, a soft light that rests upon your chest, warm, steady, quiet, spreading with every breath, easing the tightness that life has drawn across your heart. You do not have to force it. You do not have to earn it. Just let it be. For peace is not something you reach for. It is someone who reaches for you. In this stillness, Jesus looks at you with the same gentle eyes He turned toward His disciples that night. The same tenderness. The same unbreakable love. And though the centuries have passed, His words have not dimmed. My peace I give to you. The words drift through the air, across time and space, settling now upon your soul. So if your thoughts wander tonight, if your heart feels heavy, return to these words. Breathe them in, and whisper them back. My peace I give to you. Again, and again, until the noise fades, until only His voice remains. In the stillness, you realize something sacred. Peace is not found by escaping the world, but by inviting Him into it. And as the last lamp flickers in that ancient upper room, as the disciples sit wrapped in mystery and love, His promise takes root in their hearts, just as it does in yours tonight. A peace beyond understanding, yet closer than breath. The room was filled with a deep and tender quiet, the kind that holds its breath. The disciples sat close to Jesus, their faces lit softly by the amber glow of the lamps, flickers of flame moving across the wood and the stone, casting gentle shadows that seemed to dance like whispers upon the walls. Every word He spoke carried a kind of stillness, a sacred gravity that lingered in the air. Even after His voice faded, they could not yet see the fullness of what He was offering, but they could feel it. A warmth, a calm, a steady rhythm beneath the trembling of their hearts. Jesus looked at them, at their confusion, their fear of losing him, and he spoke again. But now his tone carried something new, something both mysterious and comforting. He told them of the Helper, the Comforter, the Spirit of Truth, who would come and dwell within them. When he was gone, they listened, not fully understanding, but feeling the shape of hope forming around his words. He was telling them that peace was not just a feeling, not just a promise for a night like this, but a living presence, the Holy Spirit, who would fill them, guide them, and stay with them always. Peace was no longer somewhere they had to go to find. It would live inside them. And tonight, it lives inside you too. The same Spirit that Jesus promised that night still breathes peace into the hearts that welcome him, still moves gently through the quiet hours, still whispers comfort into the spaces where words cannot reach. Take a slow breath now, and imagine that breath as a gentle exchange. You release the noise of the day, the small burdens, the scattered thoughts, and in return, you receive his peace, not as an idea, but as presence. The Spirit moves like air, unseen yet undeniable, wrapping softly around you, flowing through the tension in your shoulders, through the ache in your chest, through the places within that have forgotten how to rest. You are not walking alone through the unknown. You are carried. This peace is not a silence forced by exhaustion, but the quiet strength of being held by God himself. There are moments when the world feels too heavy, when questions have no answers, when prayers seem to linger in the dark. And yet, in those moments, something sacred happens. If you listen closely, beneath the noise, beneath the doubt, you may hear it. A soft voice within, not your own, not born of thought, but of spirit, saying, "Peace, be still." And even though your circumstances might not change, something within you begins to shift. The weight you carry lightens, the sharp edges of fear soften, and a gentle knowing rises. The Helper is near. The same presence that filled that upper room fills this room now. Wherever you are listening, the Spirit moves quietly, like wind through leaves, like dawn through the edge of night, reminding you that peace is not lost, only hidden beneath layers of worry, waiting to be uncovered by trust. Let this promise settle in your soul. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. Peace lives within you. Because he lives within you. The disciples could not yet understand it, but soon they would. When the stone would roll away, when the Spirit would descend upon them with fire and wind, when courage would replace fear, and peace would no longer be something they heard, but something they became. And that same Spirit, The same comfort, the same endless peace, rests upon you now. Let it fill the space around you. Let it soften your breathing. Let it remind you that no matter how loud the world becomes, peace remains. Because He remains. Close your eyes and whisper softly, "Peace. Be still." Let that become the song of your night, the rhythm of your rest, the promise that never ends. There are nights when even the softest bed cannot quiet the mind, when the weight of unfinished thoughts presses against the heart, when the soul feels heavy with questions that have no clear answer. You know those nights, when you replay every conversation, every decision, every moment you wish had gone differently, and yet, even in that quiet ache, the peace of Christ waits, gently, patiently, like a river beneath the surface, still flowing, still faithful. In that upper room long ago, Jesus looked into the eyes of His disciples and saw that same heaviness, the same worry, the same quiet storms they did not know how to name. He saw hearts that wanted to believe but were afraid of what tomorrow would bring. He saw men who had left everything and now faced the fear of losing Him. He knew the thoughts they could not speak. He knew the sorrow rising within them like a tide. And yet He did not turn away. He did not grow weary of their weakness. He offered them peace, again and again. Not a peace that erased their fears, but one that embraced them. He was showing them, and you, that peace is not the absence of burden, but the freedom to set it down in His hands. Take a deep breath now, slowly, gently, and as you exhale, imagine placing something into His care. One thought, one worry, one small piece of the day that you no longer need to hold. Maybe it's a moment that didn't go right, a word left unsaid, a responsibility that feels too heavy, or the quiet fear of what lies ahead. Whatever it is, release it, and whisper in your heart, "I trust you with this." Each breath becomes a prayer, each release a small act of faith. The disciples did not know how to let go yet. They clung to understanding, to control, to the idea that peace came when life made sense. But Jesus was inviting them, and you, to a deeper kind of rest. The kind that does not wait for answers. The kind that trusts even when nothing feels certain. Because peace does not arrive when the storm is over. It begins when you stop fighting the wind and let Him hold the sails. In the soft glow of that night, Jesus reached into their confusion and said, "Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid." He did not promise that trouble would vanish, but that their hearts would no longer be slaves to fear. Let that promise echo in you now. The Spirit of peace, the helper He promised, whispers through your breath, through your heartbeat, through the quiet space between each thought. reminding you that what you cannot carry, He already has. So let go. Let go of the weight of yesterday, of the noise that followed you from the day into the night. Let go of what you cannot change, of what you cannot control. You are safe here. You are held. You are seen by the one who never sleeps. And as you rest in this truth, notice how your shoulders lower, how your chest loosens, how the air feels softer now. This is what His peace does. It untangles. It eases. It fills the space where worry once lived, until all that remains is stillness. And in that stillness, His voice comes again, gentle, steady, eternal. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not a peace that must be earned, but a peace that already belongs to you. Let that truth sink deep, until it touches the core of who you are, until it becomes not just words you hear, but life you feel. Now breathe, and rest in Him. The night deepens, and the world outside grows still. Yet even in stillness, there are storms that move unseen, not in the sky, but within the soul. You know them, the storms of thought, of memory, of fear that rises without warning. They come like waves, sometimes quiet, sometimes fierce, carrying fragments of worry and what-ifs that crash against the peace you long to hold. The disciples knew those storms well. They had seen winds roar across Galilee, had watched waves rise higher than their courage, had once cried out in terror while Jesus slept peacefully beside them. That moment, burned into their memory, returns now as He speaks to them of peace. They remember the sound of the wind, the creak of the boat, the panic that filled their hearts, and then the voice that stilled it all. Peace. Be still. The sea obeyed, and so did their fear, not because the waves disappeared, but because they finally understood. That peace was not found in calm waters, but in the one who calms them. Now, in the upper room, the storm is different. Not of wind and water, but of uncertainty, of loss, of love that fears separation. And again, He offers the same answer. Not a plan, not an explanation, but Himself. Peace. Not as the world gives. The world's peace ends when storms begin, but His peace begins exactly there, in the middle of wind and rain, in the trembling, in the waiting. So tonight, imagine your own life as that small boat, resting upon uncertain waters. The winds of worry may rise. The waves of responsibility may press hard against you. But look closer. He is still there. Not distant. Not asleep. But calm. Present. Unshaken. He looks upon your storm. And He is not afraid. His peace does not demand that the storm stop. It only asks that you remember who is in the boat with you. Let that awareness settle slowly. The way light spreads across dawn. Feel how your heartbeat softens. How your thoughts begin to slow their racing. How your breath finds rhythm again. This is what divine peace feels like. Not the absence of trouble, but the presence of God. When the world outside is loud, His peace becomes a whisper that steadies you. When your mind is restless, His peace becomes a hand upon your heart, reminding it how to beat in trust again. You do not need to fix the storm. You only need to remember that you are not facing it alone. Sometimes, the calm does not come to the sea. It comes to the soul. And perhaps, that is what He was teaching them all along. That the power to still storms begins not with wind or water, but with peace rooted in faith. As you lie here now, let that truth become your shelter. Let the rhythm of your breathing mimic the rhythm of the waves after His voice spoke. Gentle, even, steady. Each breath says, "Peace, be still." Each exhale releases another fragment of fear, another echo of doubt, another weight that is not yours to carry. Let your body follow. Your shoulders melt into rest. Your eyes soften. Your spirit ease. And in this stillness, imagine Him near. Not far away in ancient time, but right here, whispering over the storm inside you. Peace, I give to you, and you, like the sea, obey. The room is quieter now. The disciples have fallen into still reflection. The oil lamps flickering low, casting long and gentle shadows across the walls. Outside, the night hums with silence, but inside, something sacred has begun to settle. Peace. That word still lingers, not as sound, but as presence, filling the space where fear once sat. Jesus watches His friends. He knows their hearts are weary. That doubt clings to their thoughts like mist to morning air. Yet He also knows that peace will not come from what they understand, but from what they remember. He begins to remind them of the miracles they have seen, the storms that obeyed, the sick made well, the hungry fed, the outcast restored. Each memory is a seed of faith, planted in soil that once held worry. He reminds them that when the waters rose, He was there. When crowds pressed too close, He was there. When darkness tried to swallow light, He was there. And still, He will be. For peace grows in remembrance. When the heart recalls what God has already done, fear begins to lose its voice. Take a slow breath now, and let your mind drift gently through your own story. The places where His faithfulness has quietly appeared. Moments when you thought you wouldn't make it, yet somehow you did. Days that felt endless, yet morning still came. Times when you prayed through tears, and answers came softly, quietly, in ways you did not expect. These are not coincidences. They are echoes of His care. They are reminders that peace is not built on what we can see, but on what we have already known of His goodness. Even when your memory falters, His mercy does not. Even when your strength fades, His presence does not. The disciples may not have understood the path ahead, but Jesus was giving them a map made of memories. Each act of love, each moment of mercy, a signpost pointing toward peace. And tonight, He invites you to do the same, to let your memories of His goodness become the quiet ground beneath your feet, the anchor that steadies you when the winds return. You have been carried before, and you will be carried again. Think of every breath you've taken in the midst of worry, every heartbeat that endured through pain, every prayer that reached heaven though you thought no one was listening. He was there then. He is here now. Peace does not mean the absence of pain. It means the presence of a love that has never left. Let those memories rise now, like lanterns drifting upward into the night, each one glowing with a story of faith, of mercy, of unseen grace. You are surrounded by them, by proof that you have never walked alone. And when fear tries to speak again, let your memories answer first. They will tell you the truth, that God has been faithful, that Christ has not changed, that peace is not far, but already near. Let that truth settle deep within you, until it fills every space where worry used to live. Breathe in His faithfulness. Breathe out your fear, and let this rhythm become your rest tonight. You have been kept before, and you will be kept again. There is a rhythm that exists beneath all things, a quiet pulse woven into the design of creation. The rise and fall of the ocean, the sway of trees in the wind, the soft beating of the heart that carries you through each passing hour. All of it whispers the same truth. That peace was never meant to be distant. It was meant to live within you, steady as the tide, faithful as dawn. The disciples did not yet understand this rhythm, but Jesus did. He knew that peace is not a destination to reach, but a flow to rest in. As they sat in that upper room, their hearts were like restless waves, surging with questions, heavy with worry, unsure of what tomorrow would bring. But as He spoke, something began to shift. Their breathing slowed, their thoughts softened. His peace began to move through them, like water touching sand, not to erase what was there, but to shape it into something gentle. Imagine the heart as a shoreline, sometimes calm and glistening, sometimes struck by the crash of waves. sometimes scattered with broken shells. And yet, no matter how fierce the water becomes, the shore remains. It bends, it shifts, but it does not vanish. That is what His peace does. It meets every tide, every wave, every restless current, and stays. The waves may roar, but they cannot take the shore. There are moments in your own journey when life feels like that tide, pulling you in many directions. The noise of the world louder than your faith. The push and pull of uncertainty wearing down your strength. But beneath that noise, His peace remains. Constant, quiet, present, like the deep waters that never stop moving even when the surface trembles. Let that image rest within you. Each thought that rises like a wave, let it crest and fall, knowing that peace waits underneath, holding steady, faithful, unmoved. It does not matter how many waves come, or how often they return. Peace does not flee. It waits, like the shoreline waits for morning. Take a slow breath now, and imagine standing at that shore. The cool air brushing your face, the sand soft beneath your feet, the vast horizon ahead glowing faintly with light. Each wave that reaches you carries the worries of the day, and as it pulls back, it takes them away, leaving only stillness. You do not have to resist it. You do not have to fix it. Just let the rhythm of peace move through you. This is how the heart learns to rest. This is how faith breathes again. Even when the tide returns. Even when trouble rises once more. Peace is not gone. It is simply deeper than sight. The same peace that flowed through that upper room flows through this moment now. Through your breath. Through your thoughts. Through the soft weight of your body sinking into rest. Let it wash over you. Gentle. Patient. Complete. For you are the shore, and He is the sea, and together you have weathered every wave. And when morning comes, you will find that peace has not left you. It has only gone deeper. The night grows softer now. The oil lamps flicker lower, and the air in the upper room feels thick with quiet understanding. The disciples do not yet grasp all that Jesus means, but they sense something sacred, something more than words, a presence that feels alive, wrapping around them like unseen light. Peace. He says again, "My peace I give to you." He does not ask them to earn it. He does not ask them to deserve it. He simply gives. Because peace, in its truest form, is not something achieved, but something received. Imagine that moment. The room still, the world beyond it dark. And in that space, Jesus offering a gift that cannot be held in hands, only in hearts. The world often teaches that peace must be chased, that it comes after success, after control, after certainty. But Jesus offers something different. A peace that waits, already yours, already near, just beyond the noise of thought, ready to be accepted. It is like water before a thirsty traveler. It does not demand. It simply waits to be received. How often do we rush past it, busy trying to fix what is already held by grace, searching for calm in places that cannot give it, forgetting that peace is not hidden. It is offered, over and over. Every moment we choose to pause and breathe. Take a slow breath now. Inhale gently through your nose. Hold for a heartbeat. And let it go. Feel how the breath itself becomes a small act of receiving. You did not create the air. It was given. Freely. Faithfully. That is what His peace is like. It does not arrive with thunder. It does not force its way in. It waits patiently for you to open, to allow, to trust. In that upper room, the disciples had no idea how much they would need that peace, how it would become their anchor when the world turned against them, how it would become their strength when hope seemed gone. And tonight, that same peace is reaching toward you. You do not have to reach far. You do not have to strive. You only need to open your heart and say quietly within, I receive your peace. Say it not as a plea, but as a truth. Because peace is not something you beg for. It is something already promised, already present, waiting to fill the spaces that fear once claimed. Let those words settle in your spirit. I receive your peace. Let them become the rhythm of your breathing, the melody beneath your thoughts. And notice how it feels when you stop chasing calm and start resting in it. The disciples were learning that peace was not in the absence of Jesus' voice, but in its echo within them. That even when He would no longer stand before them, His words would still breathe through their hearts. Through the Spirit He would send. Through the quiet courage that would rise from within. That is the same peace that moves in you tonight. It is not fragile, not temporary. It does not break when life does. It does not fade when storms come. It is steady, like the beating of your heart, like the grace that holds the stars in their place. Let that peace find its home within you now. Breathe it in, slowly, deeply, until it fills every corner of your being. You are safe here. You are known here. You are loved here. The peace of Christ is not far from you. It is within you, waiting quietly to be received. The night has grown deep now. The lamps flicker low, their flame gentle, almost shy. The disciples sit in a silence that is no longer heavy, but full, filled with something they cannot yet name. Their fear has not vanished, yet it feels quieter, softened by the words that linger in the air. Peace I leave with you, My peace I give to you. And there, in that stillness, something begins to turn within them. Trust. Not the loud kind that shouts courage into the dark, but the quiet kind that breathes and waits and believes even when it does not understand. Trust is the moment the heart loosens its grip on fear. It is the space between worry and surrender, where the soul whispers, "Even now, I will believe." Jesus knew they would soon face confusion and grief. He knew that shadows were coming, that faith would tremble. But before that, he planted trust within them. And so, before the cross, before the silence, before the tomb, he gave them peace, so they would know, even when everything broke apart, he had already made a way through. Trust does not begin when the path is clear. It begins when the path is dark. And yet the heart chooses to keep walking. Perhaps tonight, your path feels like that. Unseen, uncertain, the way ahead dim and quiet. You try to make sense of what comes next. You search for a sign, for control, for reason. But peace whispers, "Let go. Trust me." It is in that letting go that the turning happens. The disciples did not know what would come, but they had heard his voice. And somewhere deep within, his words became a light that no darkness could fully extinguish. Trust, even when you cannot see. That is the hardest part, and the holiest. Take a slow breath, and picture your worries as small pebbles resting in your hands. One for each thought that has kept you awake. One for each fear that has lingered too long. Now, imagine setting them down before him. Not one by one, but all at once. Watching them fall quietly to the ground. You do not have to fix them. You only have to let them go. The sound they make as they fall is the sound of surrender. And in that surrender, peace begins to rise. Not as something given from outside, but as something awakening within. The Spirit, the Helper, whispers softly, reminding you that you are not walking by yourself. Reminding you that trust is not blind. It is guided by love. Love that has already walked every road you will ever walk. Love that has already seen the ending and called it good. Let that truth sink deep now, like rain into thirsty ground. When you do not know what to do, be still and trust that God is doing what you cannot see. When you cannot find words to pray, let your silence be enough, for He hears what hearts cannot speak. When you feel lost, remember, even in the dark, He remains the light. This is the turning point. When peace becomes faith, and faith becomes rest. You are no longer fighting to understand. You are learning to trust. And as the disciples sat in that small upper room, surrounded by the weight of what they could not know. They realized something gentle and true. That peace was not a place to arrive at. It was a person sitting beside them. Let that be your truth tonight. He is here. He is near. And His peace is still yours. The night feels sacred now. The air in the upper room carries both silence and grace. The disciples lean in, drawn to the stillness that seems to radiate from Jesus. Each word He has spoken lingers like fragrance in the air, wrapping around their weary hearts, holding them steady in a moment that feels both fragile and eternal. Outside, the world is restless. Soldiers move through shadowed streets. The whisper of betrayal is near. But here, in this room, peace has made its home. Jesus closes His eyes, and for a moment, the disciples can almost feel His prayer. Not in words they can hear, but in the warmth that fills the space, the steady pulse of heaven meeting earth. And in that prayer lies the heartbeat of peace. He is not asking for the storms to stop. He is not asking for escape. He is praying for endurance, for strength, for the kind of peace that holds, even when the world begins to shake. He prays for them, and for every heart that will one day follow Him, including yours. He prays that His peace would dwell in you, not around you, not above you, but within, where fear hides, where doubt tries to speak, where longing waits to be comforted. That prayer did not fade when the night ended. It continues still, carried across time, carried through every generation, whispered again tonight. Over you. Take a slow breath, and let your soul join that prayer. Let your mind rest, your thoughts slow, your heart open. You do not have to form perfect words. Only the desire to be near. Only the willingness to receive. Whisper quietly within yourself, Lord, let your peace rest upon me. Feel those words move like ripples through the water of your being, spreading from thought to thought, from breath to breath, until everything in you begins to soften. Peace is not the silence after prayer. It is the presence within it. As you sit in that stillness, remember that prayer is not a request you send upward. It is an exchange, a meeting. The breath of God and the breath of your soul becoming one. In that union, fear dissolves, because love has taken its place. The disciples feel it too, though they cannot name it. They sense that something greater than understanding is happening. A quiet power that will remain long after this night ends. This is what Jesus wanted for them. And for you. That prayer would become the path to peace. That every sigh, every whispered hope, every moment of stillness would draw heaven close enough to touch. Sometimes peace comes not through answers, but through awareness, through the simple knowing that you are heard, that even your silence is understood. When you pray, you do not need to reach far, because the one you seek already dwells within. You are never too far from peace, because you are never too far from Him. Let that become your prayer tonight. Not in words, but in being. Just resting. Just breathing. Just existing in the love that asks for nothing and gives everything. The prayer of peace is not something you must recite. It is something you allow. Allow stillness to hold you. Allow faith to breathe for you. Allow His peace to settle over you like the calm before dawn. And as your thoughts drift, as your eyes grow heavy, remember, His prayer still covers you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. That is the prayer that never ends. The night deepens even more. Silence pressing close. Soft and holy. The disciples sit around Jesus. And though they cannot see the full weight of what is to come, they can feel something sacred unfolding. His words still echo in their minds. His peace still lingers in their hearts. But there is something else now. Something they do not yet understand. Presence. He speaks of leaving, yet promises to remain. He speaks of going, yet says, I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you. How could this be? They wonder. How could He leave and still be near? They do not yet know the fullness of His promise, but soon they will. For His peace is not only a gift, it is His presence living within. And tonight, that same presence sits beside you, unseen, but real, as near as your breath, as close as your next heartbeat. When you are still, you may sense it, that quiet awareness that you are not alone, the feeling of calm that does not come from circumstance, but from someone greater, someone who watches, who stays, who whispers peace even when life grows dark. Take a slow breath and imagine that moment. You are in that same upper room, the lamplight soft and golden, the night air cool upon your skin. Jesus sits near, His gaze gentle, His eyes knowing. There is no need to speak, because He already understands the thoughts behind your silence. He does not rush you, does not ask you to be strong. He simply stays. The peace He gives is not just an emotion. It is His nearness itself. And if you could see through the stillness right now, you would see that same presence surrounding you, wrapping you in invisible grace, steadying your breath, quieting your heart. Sometimes, we think peace is something we must find, somewhere out there beyond reach. But it is already here, already near. Because He is near, there is nowhere you can go that His presence will not follow. No darkness that His light cannot touch. No fear that His love cannot calm. He is beside you when you wake in the middle of the night, when the weight of thought feels too heavy to name, when tears fall quietly and no one sees. He is there, not watching from afar, but sitting beside you, patient, faithful, unchanging. Let that truth breathe through you now. You are not forgotten. You are not unseen. You are not walking through this alone. The same presence that filled that small upper room fills this room too. Right now, wherever you are listening, close your eyes and imagine his hand resting lightly upon yours. Steady, warm, familiar. No words needed, just presence. This is peace, not as the world gives, but as he gives. Peace that stays when the world shifts. Peace that watches over you when you have no strength left to watch over yourself. Peace that whispers, "I am here." And when you feel alone again, remember this moment, this quiet truth, that his presence never leaves. Not when the night is long, not when the heart trembles, not when the road feels unclear. He is the steady voice in the silence, the unseen hand upon your shoulder, the gentle calm in your chest when you least expect it. He has not left. He will not leave. And in that truth, peace finds you again. So rest now. Breathe softly, and let his presence be enough. The air in the upper room has grown still. The disciples sit with the weight of his words, their hearts torn between peace and fear, hope and uncertainty. They do not yet understand what surrender means. But Jesus does. He knows that peace can only take root in hearts that learn to let go. He watches them quietly, his gaze filled with love. He can see how tightly they hold on to the things they cannot control. The need to understand. The need to know what comes next. The fear of losing what they love most. And still, he speaks peace over them. Because peace does not come when life is perfect. It comes when the soul releases the illusion of control and rests in the hands of the one who never fails. How many times has your own heart tried to hold everything together? To fix, to plan, to make sense of the noise around you, and found only exhaustion in return. There is a kind of peace that cannot live alongside control. One must yield for the other to rise. When you surrender, you do not lose your strength. You simply stop fighting battles that were never yours to win. Imagine yourself sitting in that room, the flicker of light soft upon your face, your hands open in your lap, empty, unguarded. Jesus looks at you, and his expression is not disappointment, but tenderness. He does not ask for perfection, only trust. You feel the pull of your worries, the resistance of your mind. But beneath that, you feel something else stirring. A quiet longing to rest, to finally stop holding everything so tightly. Take a slow breath. Inhale peace. Exhale control. Do it again. Let your breath become your surrender. The peace of Christ begins to fill the empty space your control once occupied, not as a wave of emotion, but as stillness. This is the sacred exchange, where fear ends and faith begins. When you release the need to know how everything will unfold, you make space for peace to move in. The disciples would learn this truth in time, when their world would crumble and rebuild again through resurrection. When they would stand before the unknown and find courage not because they understood, but because they trusted. And that same lesson unfolds in you tonight. Surrender does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying. It means you give permission for God to be God. The same hands that shaped galaxies are the hands that hold your tomorrow. You do not need to grip what is already secure. You only need to rest. Imagine every worry in your heart as a thread, slowly unwinding, releasing, loosening its hold, one by one, until only peace remains. You do not have to understand everything to trust that you are being guided. You do not have to see the whole path to take the next breath in faith. God's peace does not demand answers. It offers assurance that even if the night is long, dawn will come. Even if you cannot trace His plan, you can trust His heart. Let those words sink deep. Let them quiet the places inside that still cling and wrestle. You are safe to let go, because you are held. And as the disciples sat there that night, still unsure of what tomorrow would bring, peace began to take root. Not because the world was calm, but because they had finally begun to surrender. And that same peace waits for you now. Not beyond the storm, but within it. All it asks is that you open your hands and let go. The night outside has grown deep and quiet. The flicker of the last lamp fades into a gentle glow. The disciples sit together, hearts softened, eyes lowered. Something inside them has shifted, something quiet and holy. For the first time, they begin to understand that peace is not something to chase, but something to allow. Jesus has not taken away their troubles. The storm beyond those walls still waits, but He has given them a blessing greater than safety, the blessing of release. He looks at them, and the light from the lamp dances across His face. Steady, kind, unafraid. He knows what tomorrow will bring, yet there is no fear in Him. Only stillness, only love, only peace. And as they watch Him, they begin to understand that peace is not freedom from the storm, but freedom within it. This is the moment when faith matures, when the soul learns that control is not strength, and surrender is not weakness. It is the moment you stop trying to command the wind, and instead rest in the One who commands it for you. Take a deep breath now, slow and gentle. and imagine releasing everything that has burdened you. The worries about tomorrow, the regrets of yesterday, the need to know how every detail will unfold. Each breath becomes a small surrender. Each exhale a soft letting go. You do not need to hold what God is already holding. As the air leaves your lungs, imagine it carrying away the weight of your thoughts, the noise that never stops, the striving that exhausts you. And as you breathe in again, imagine His peace returning in its place. A soft glow filling the spaces where tension once lived. You can almost feel it now. That warmth spreading through your chest. That quiet reassurance that everything you lay down, He gathers. Everything you release, He redeems. This is His blessing, the peace that follows release. The disciples did not yet know the depth of what He was giving them, but they could feel it, as though His words had unlocked something sacred inside. He was teaching them. And you. That peace begins not when you receive answers, but when you give up the need for them. When you choose trust over control, gratitude over worry, surrender over striving. That is where peace begins to bloom, like light rising through the cracks of a long night. And so, in the stillness of that sacred room, He begins to bless them, not with riches, not with promises of ease, but with His own presence, His own calm, His own unshakable assurance that no matter what happens next, they are loved, they are known, they are held. You can almost feel that same blessing reaching you now, across time and silence, touching your spirit, calming your breath, reminding you that you too are part of this story. Peace is not given once. It is given continually. With every moment you release what was never meant to be carried alone. Let this be your quiet prayer tonight. Lord, I release it all into your hands. The known and the unknown. The seen and the unseen. The hope and the fear. I trust you with it. I trust you with me. And as you breathe out those words, feel the gentle weight lift. Like dust carried off by a soft wind. You are not meant to hold the world, only to rest in the one who does. This is the blessing of peace, the blessing that comes when you finally release. And as the disciples watched Him that night, they realized peace was not leaving with Him. It was being left within them. And so it is with you. The night has grown silent now. Jerusalem sleeps beneath a sky of silver clouds. The city's noise has faded, leaving only the hush of wind through narrow streets. Inside the upper room, the last lamp burns low, its flame trembling softly like a heart learning to rest. The disciples are quiet, no longer asking questions, no longer clinging to what they cannot understand. Something in them has shifted. The worry has not vanished, but it has loosened. Their breathing has slowed. Their shoulders softened, and their hearts, though still uncertain, are at peace. Jesus looks at them, and in his gaze is the calm of eternity, the stillness of heaven itself. He sees their exhaustion, their confusion, their fragile trust, and he meets it all with one unspoken assurance: I am with you, always. That is the promise beneath every word he has ever spoken, the truth behind every act of grace. Peace is not something you must search for. It is what remains when everything else falls silent. Let that truth reach you now. You have listened. You have reflected. You have released. And now, it is time to rest, to descend gently from thought into stillness, from striving into surrender. Take a deep breath, slow and full, and as you exhale, feel the weight of the day leaving your body, slipping quietly away. Your thoughts begin to soften. The world grows distant. You are safe. The same peace that filled that upper room long ago now fills this space around you. It moves like water, calm and clear, flowing through every part of you that has been tense, every part that has been tired. Let it wash over your mind, cleansing the noise. Let it move through your shoulders, down your arms, through your chest, until your whole body feels lighter, quieter. You do not need to hold anything now. Not worry, not regret, not control. Only peace. You can rest. Because he is awake. You can release. Because he is faithful. The disciples could not see what tomorrow would bring. But in this moment, peace was enough. It wrapped around them like a soft blanket. It entered their bones. It lived in their breath. That same peace now wraps around you. Imagine it as light, warm and golden, flowing gently from above, touching your forehead, your eyes, your lips, whispering stillness into every thought, every heartbeat, every space that once felt restless. Peace, my peace, I give to you. You can almost hear his voice, low and gentle, not far away, but near, inside the quiet of your own spirit. Let that voice guide you deeper, away from thought, away from noise, toward the quiet center of his presence. Here, you do not have to speak. Here, you do not have to do. You only need to be. In this stillness, your soul and his meet. In this stillness, fear loses its name. In this stillness, peace becomes who you are. The disciples sit in silence. And that silence becomes prayer, not with words, but with rest, with trust, with presence. And as they begin to close their eyes, peace watches over them, as it now watches over you. Everything you need for this night is already here. You can let go. You can rest. For the one who promised his peace has not changed. He is near. He is watching. And in his presence, there is perfect stillness. The night holds its breath. The city beyond the walls of the upper room is silent. The stars hang in stillness as if listening. And inside, the disciples sit surrounded by the gentle presence of peace. It is not loud, not bright, not grand, but soft, like the glow that lingers after a candle has been blown out. There is no fear now, only stillness, only the faint sound of breathing. Hearts that once raced are now calm. Minds that once spun in worry are now resting. Their peace has not come from the absence of trouble, but from the nearness of the one who remains. Jesus has shown them that peace is not something found in the world around them, but something awakened within them. That same peace now fills the room where you are. You may not see it. You may not even feel it right away. But it is here. Gentle as air. Steady as breath. Patient as love. Close your eyes. And imagine that you are no longer alone in your room. Imagine him near. Not as a distant figure from history, but as presence, light, warmth. He sits beside you, his voice quiet, his eyes kind. There is no judgment in his gaze, only understanding, only love, only peace. He does not ask you to speak. He does not ask you to explain. He already knows. Every thought, every ache, every unspoken prayer you carry in your chest. And still, he is here. You can almost feel the air shift, as if his very breath moves through it, calming what trembles within you. This is the moment when peace becomes real, not as an idea, but as an experience. When you realize that every breath you take is shared with him, that every heartbeat echoes the rhythm of his love, that every part of you, even the ones you hide, rests safely in his presence. Peace is not something you step into. It is something that unfolds around you when you stop trying to hold yourself together. Let yourself fall gently into that awareness. Feel your breath move slowly, in and out, like waves returning to the shore. Feel your body grow heavier, your muscles release, your heartbeat slow. Each breath carries you deeper. Each exhale takes you closer to rest. The disciples could not have known that in the days ahead, their world would shake, their faith would waver. Yet what they learned this night would remain. The peace that no fear could destroy. The presence that no distance could break. And so it is for you. You will have days when calm seems far away, when your thoughts rise like storms again. But remember, peace is not gone. It is only waiting beneath the surface, where he still is. You do not have to call him loudly. He has already arrived. Let that truth whisper through you now. He is here. He is with me. He will not leave. This is the heart of His promise. That no matter how dark the night becomes, His presence will wrap around you like light in the folds of dawn. The peace of Christ is not fragile. It does not fade when the world trembles. It is strong, steady, eternal. You are held within it now, completely, wholly, tenderly. Let that awareness cradle you, until even your thoughts fall silent, until even your breath feels like prayer, until rest becomes worship. The room fades. The noise fades. Everything fades except this one truth. You are not alone. And you never will be. The night has reached its quietest hour. The world outside is wrapped in a deep hush. Even the wind has stilled. The disciples sit in that upper room. And peace now fills every corner like water filling an empty vessel. The same stillness that hovered over creation. The same calm that rested over the Sea of Galilee. Now rests here, surrounding them, entering them, holding them. Jesus' words have faded into silence, but His peace remains, strong and alive, a presence that does not fade when the sound stops. He has given them what the world could never give, the gift of rest, not only for their bodies, but for their souls. This is the kind of rest that does not come from sleep alone, but from surrender, from trust, from knowing that the hands that made the stars are the same hands that hold your heart tonight. And so, as the night deepens, that same peace begins to rest upon you. It settles first upon your mind, quieting the last of your racing thoughts, the worries that try to whisper just before sleep, the questions that do not need answers tonight. Let them go. They can wait for morning. Then it moves to your heart, steadying its rhythm, easing the ache, reminding it that it is safe, that it is known, that it is loved. Then it moves to your body, through your shoulders, through your arms, through every muscle that has carried too much today. You do not have to be strong now. You only have to rest. This is the peace that holds you when you are too tired to hold yourself. The disciples begin to close their eyes. Their bodies weary but their spirits calm. Somewhere beyond the horizon, dawn is waiting. But for now, rest is holy. Take a deep breath and let yourself sink gently into the quiet. You are not falling into emptiness. You are falling into grace. You are lying not in uncertainty, but in the hands of the one who neither slumbers nor sleeps. Every sound fades now. Even the faint hum of thought begins to disappear. What remains is peace. This peace is not fragile. It will not slip away when you sleep. It will stay, like a watchful guardian over your dreams, like the light that lingers behind closed eyes. It will follow you through the night, through the stillness of dreams, through every breath until morning comes. And when you wake, this same peace will still be there, waiting quietly in the light of dawn, reminding you that nothing has changed in His love. The disciples rest now, their heads bowed, their spirits safe, and in their stillness, heaven watches. This is where the story begins to blend with your own. Because the peace that filled that upper room did not stay there. It began to move through time, from heart to heart, through centuries and storms, until it found its way to you. The same peace that Jesus spoke is the peace that now rests on your pillow. The peace that breathes beside you. The peace that covers you like a soft blanket. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not unguarded. The night belongs to Him. And so do you. Let this be your prayer without words, your rest without fear, your trust without question. You can sleep now, for peace is awake. The night begins to fade, slowly, softly, as if heaven itself is breathing light into the dark. The first hint of dawn glows along the horizon, faint and golden, touching the edges of the city that still sleeps. In the upper room, the air is calm. The disciples rest in silence. Peace has wrapped around them like a gentle robe, holding them through the long hours of uncertainty. Morning is coming, and with it, change. Yet in this moment, all is still, all is sacred. Peace has done its work. The fear that once filled their hearts has quieted, not because everything is fixed, but because love has settled deeper than fear could ever reach. And so it is with you. As the night gives way to light, peace begins to turn into gratitude, a quiet awakening of the soul that whispers, "Thank you." Not a loud thanksgiving, not the kind that dances in celebration, but a soft, wordless gratitude that lives between breaths. Thank you for holding me through the dark. Thank you for the peace that stayed when I could not. Thank you for presence that never left, even when I could not see it. Gratitude, like peace, is not loud. It grows gently, like light over water, like warmth through chilled air. It reminds you that every breath is grace, every heartbeat a gift, every moment of rest a quiet miracle. Take a slow breath, and as you exhale, let gratitude fill the space where worry once lived. You do not have to think of every reason. You do not have to list every blessing. You only have to feel the truth of being kept, being loved, being carried through another night. Gratitude is the language of peace. The disciples stir now, slowly waking, faces soft, eyes calm. They do not yet know what the day ahead will bring, but something within them has changed. They carry peace now, within, not as a fragile flame, but as a steady fire. This is how peace transforms into strength, how rest becomes readiness. The same will be true for you. When you rise, you will not leave peace behind on your pillow. It will rise with you, gentle, steady, quiet. The world may rush, the day may demand, but you will walk differently, slower, softer, carrying the stillness of His presence wherever you go. This is how gratitude moves. It turns rest into renewal. It makes ordinary moments holy. It teaches the heart to see grace in everything. The morning light now stretches through the window. Soft beams of gold touch the faces of those once afraid. And Jesus watches them with a love that cannot be measured. He knows the road ahead will test them. He knows storms will return. But He also knows peace will not leave them. Because peace is not something that fades with the night. It is something that awakens with the morning. Let that truth become your own dawn. You are breathing. You are kept. You are here. And in this simple truth lies everything you need. Let gratitude fill your spirit like light filling a room. Let it pour into every corner of your heart, until all that remains is quiet joy. You have made it through the night. You are wrapped in grace. You are safe in peace. The sun rises over Jerusalem. Golden light spills across the rooftops, touching every stone, every tree, every quiet corner of the waking city. The upper room glows softly now, the shadows retreating, the night giving way to morning. The disciples slowly lift their eyes, their hearts still wrapped in the calm Jesus left them. They remember His words. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. Those words are no longer just sound. They are now a living presence, moving through them, breathing in them, holding them. They will need that peace for what lies ahead. 4 days that will test their courage, for moments that will stretch their faith. But they will also remember that even when the world shakes, the peace of Christ does not. It lives beyond fear, beyond loss, beyond time. And tonight, as you come to the end of this story, that same eternal peace rests upon you. It does not depend on circumstance. It does not wait for perfection. It simply is. Steady as breath, faithful as dawn. Close your eyes and let yourself feel it now. The room you are in becomes still, the air gentle. The noise of life softens into distance, and in that stillness, something sacred stirs. The same presence that filled that upper room fills this very space, breathing calm into your soul, whispering love over every thought, every ache, every question that remains. You have walked through the story, through fear, through trust, through surrender. And now, you arrive here, in perfect peace. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to prove, nothing left to carry, only rest. This is what Jesus wanted for you. That peace would not be a fleeting moment, but a dwelling place, a home within your heart. Even when the day ahead feels uncertain, even when the path is not clear, this peace will go with you. It will remind you that God is already in tomorrow, that His love will meet you there, just as it met you here. So breathe deeply now. Inhale and receive His peace. Exhale and release every worry. You are safe. You are loved. You are held. And as the last words of this story settle into silence, let them become the rhythm of your rest. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Those words do not end. They continue. Quietly, endlessly, like a song that heaven keeps singing. May they linger in you through the night, and meet you again in the light of morning. Rest now, in His peace that has no end, for the story of peace is never over. It is written into every breath you take, and it will follow you all the days of your life. Good night, and peace be with you always.